Welcome to the latest edition of the LL Spring Sports Roundtable. We are brought to you by Substitute Teacher Service. I'm your host, Mike Gross. Alongside me is the great Jeff Reinhardt. And we've got a whole lot of serving and volleying and fielding and hitting. And let's get to it, Rhines, beginning with the volleyball.
Okay, volleyball. We hit the halfway mark here this week. Tuesday night was the end of the first go-round in section play.
Yep.
Here's where we stand. A lot of good stuff going on in volleyball. Section 1, Warwick, unscathed, 6-0. They are number 1 in the District 3 3A rankings, and they're number 9 in the state in 3A. So great start for Warwick. After that, it gets really interesting. Cedar Crest has been like the story of the season here.
Really good. Huh?
Oh, unbelievable. They beat...
Really good lately, too.
Yes.
Really rolling lately, yeah.
Five wins in a row.
Yep.
And 6 overall. They had a non-league win, and they play Lower Dauphin this week, and Lower Dauphin's the defending District 2A champ, so that's a big match. Crest beat CV on Tuesday night 3-1. They came into that match tied. Bucks and Falcons were tied for second. Crest snaps the tie. They win. Coach Monica Schaefer and her squad just playing great. Just playing absolutely fantastic. So they slide into the 2 slot by themselves. Warwick 6-0.
Oh, okay.
Huge win for Crest on Tuesday. They beat CV. Bucks win the first set. Crest comes back and wins the next 3. So they're now alone in second place. CV 4-2. Hempfield 3-3. That's been the other kind of head scratcher story here of the spring. Hempfield's lost 3 of its last 4 section matches, which is head scratcher. To my knowledge, and I've asked around here a little bit, the league started in '97, so we're 26 years into the league, 27 years into the league. To my knowledge, Hempfield has never missed the LL playoffs. So they got a lot of work to do here in the second half to get to the 2 line. The top 2 get in. We'll see how that goes. Section 1 matches to watch. Thursday night, as you watch this, Warwick at CV. So we'll see if the Bucks can jump back in after falling to Cedar Crest. Next Tuesday, circle this one, Cedar Crest at Warwick. First place could be on the line in Lidditz. I'm going to go to that next Tuesday night. Circle it. Section 2, the Whopper match was Tuesday night. Manheim Central hosted Garden Spot. They were both 5-0. First place on the line in Manheim. And the Barons win 3-1. They're playing really well. Spot did take a set, tied it up 1-1, but then Central kind of took over, won the next 2, won it. So they're 6-0. Barons are number 3 in the state. How about that? In 2A, they've been playing great. Spot 5-1. E-Town 4-2. Cocalico 3-3. Hanging on the fringes, but those 2 are really good and looking to make district playoffs. Big match on Thursday, Manheim Central at E-Town. Bears have been pesky. We'll see if they can give Central a run for its money. But right now, Central is out front, and they're playing great, and they had a huge win over Guard Spot on Tuesday. Hope you saw that story online and in print. Good stuff in volleyball. Halfway home. Second half starts Thursday night.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
I'm going to start with track. Thin clads aplenty, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
We want to start with, we've talked about how many great runners there are, fast kids in the league. I wanted to kind of highlight the marquee event in track is the 100-meter dash. That's kind of the one that everybody talks about, Usain Bolt and all that stuff. Well, we have 3 kids on the boys' side who are sub 11 second in the 100 already, and a kid named Gabe Lewis from Cedar Crest, who is a senior, who is really emerging, and he is consistently under 11 seconds. His best time is 10.75, which is really good. But he's been consistent. Monday night he ran a 10.8 in wind and lousy conditions, and he's been very good. A kid named Aiden Smith from McCaskey has a 10.8, and Nick Tran, Conestoga Valley,
CV.
10.9. That's 3 guys that are under 11 seconds. That's pretty impressive. And interesting that these are like veteran kids. And so it's not like maybe they improved their technique a little bit. Well, Jason Guarente wrote a piece the other day about a kid on the girls' side named Lindy Wall of LS.
Yes.
12.53 in the 100. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's easily the best in the league so far. She is a senior, and Jason talked a little bit about, you improve your technique a little bit, and maybe you're not getting faster like genetically or anything, but you're figuring it out. So that's one of the outstanding times. I wanted to mention some kids with outstanding performances so far. So we've got on the boys' side, we have a kid named Ivan Tejada of Warwick, 52.7 in the shot. That's pretty good for this point in the year.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway through. In the 1600, Aiden Hodge of Hempfield, a familiar name, 4.12 in the 1600. That's a good time, and by like 6 seconds, the best in the league, something like that. Colin Whitaker of LS, 9:17.48 in the 3200. That's the best in the league by 25 seconds.
Wow.
Which, think about that, 25 seconds. That's some distance. Pretty impressive. And then in the 110 high hurdles, a kid named Landon McAllicher of Central, sub 15 seconds, 14.98. That's pretty solid. In the girls, similar people I want to mention again, that Lindy Wall, Katie Becker of Warwick in the high jump is at 5.6. Maddie Nyer is at 5.4. Wow. Those two are going to go at it, I think. For maybe even into the postseason. And similarly, we know about Katie Irvine of Solanco, who is one of the best pole vaulters in the state and has been for a while. But she does not have the best pole vault in the Lancaster 11 League this year so far. That goes to Anna Rank of Elizabethtown, 11.8, and Katie Irvine is 11.6. Now, Katie's going to do better than that. That's just a matter of time. Yes. Maybe Anna will too. So anyway, that's kind of where we are in track.
All right, boys tennis, anyone?
Absolutely.
As we record Wednesday, this is the last day of LL boys tennis. The section play wraps up here midweek. Postseason will start next week. Section 1, Cedar Crest has clinched a tie for the section title. They play at Warwick on Wednesday. If Crest wins there, they're the outright champs. Township's 5-1, and they're done. They have no more section matches. So if Warwick springs the upset and beats Crest, Crest and Township would tie for first if Crest wins today.
So the regular season is going to be over for everybody by the end of this week. Yeah, we're talking on Wednesday.
Okay, Crest clinched the tie for the section championship on Monday when they beat Hempfield. Hempfield's 3-2, McCaskey's 3-2, so they both had good seasons, but they're not going to catch Crest. Again, if Crest wins Wednesday at Warwick, Falcons, who are having a good spring here all around in spring sports, Cedar Crest, look out, they would win it outright. And by the way, Crest is number 1 in District 3, 3A team rankings.
Alma mater.
And Manheim Township is 3rd. Section 2, LS and Cocalico, this is gigantic. They're both 5-0 as we speak on Wednesday. Cocalico at LS in Lampeter for the outright Section 2 championship. Circle it, we'll see who wins that. Pioneers, Eagles. Section 3, Lancaster Country Day, 7-0. Pequea Valley, 6-1. Anvil Cleona, 5-2. Wednesday as we record. Anvil Cleona at Lancaster Country Day. If the Cougs win there, they would clinch outright. Pequea Valley's done. They're 6-1. They have no more matches. So Country Day needs to beat Anvil Cleona on Wednesday to clinch it outright. Lancaster Country Day, number 1, District 3, 2A. I think we're all anxious to see how Country Day does in the postseason. Getting to the state finals last year as a team, and they have some outstanding singles/doubles kids. I think Country Day may be playing tennis for a while. Back to you.
Let's talk softball.
Softball
and Valentine beer. Here we go. I thought I'd take a quick look at districts because we're almost exactly halfway through the regular season. So in 6A, the number 1 team in District 3 is the Warriors of Warwick.
How
about that? 92 runs in 9 games.
They can slug a little.
Yeah, it's not bad. In 5A, Solanco is the top-ranked team from our league at number 4. Their loss is to LS. They only have 1 loss. They're 9-1. 109 runs in 10 games.
Oh, my.
And then Donegal is 6th, and they only have 1 loss either. 4A, remember how we had Dave Byrne in here, and he talked about how moving down to Section 4 was going to hurt Northern Lebanon and
Yeah.
probably hurt Section 4 too.
Yeah.
Well, Northern Lebanon is 7-1. They've been pretty much as advertised, and they're 6th in the district.
Wow.
There's 3 teams ahead of them who have more losses than they do.
Really?
And so I think Dave was right. That has, it hurt them in power rankings and everything else. 3A, we've got Anvil Clayona is number 5. Catholic and Peckway are sort of in the hunt, and then AA and A, not really much going on there. But one thing we've talked about with softball is we seem to be better on the run scoring side than the run prevention side, and as illustrated by some of these numbers that we've seen. Dave had an interesting thing in his notebook the other day about this, where Elizabethtown plays in this ballpark where there's like never been a home run other than an inside the park home run.
Oh, okay.
And then this year, in the first scrimmage of the year, there were 2 home runs.
Over
First
the
scrimmage
fence.
with
Really?
Central Dauphin. Well, it turns out they moved the fences in 100 feet.
Oh, that'll help.
thanks to a sizable donation from the Shaw Family Foundation.
How about that? I was going to say.
They moved and now there have been like 6 or 7 home runs in Elizabethtown. So maybe it seems like home runs are part of it. And I can remember over the years there were stretches in baseball where people let's change our field a little bit and put a fence here so kids can hit it over the fence once in a while and touch. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of that, in softball, and that's maybe a partial explanation for some of the offense that's going on. Sectional, Warwick is alone in first place in Section 1. They have a 2-game lead over everybody. Everybody has at least 2 losses. Let's see. Donegal in Section 3, Northern Lebanon 4, and it's always a stampede in Section 2 in every sport. Solanco and LS, which has found themselves a little bit in section play, even though they're not having a great year overall. They are sharing the Section 2 lead. That's softball.
Gotcha. Okay. Girls lax.
Laxing.
The big showdown was last week, Manheim Township and Hempfield. I would call this a statement win. Are you ready for it?
Go.
Manheim Township 23, Hempfield 3. Ooh, blue streaks. Make it a statement.
That's pretty strong.
Liv Palmer had 5 goals in that match, and Township took over sole possession of first place. They're now 7-0. Hempfield's a game back, 6-1. Last 3 games for Manheim Township. They beat Hempfield, Conestoga Valley, and Penn Manor by an aggregate score of 57-5. Wow, that's defense. Township's
I think
always
the
gonna
defensive
score.
side of that is more impressive than the.
That's
than
really.
the offense.
That's,
they both are impressive.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And the CV match and the Penn Manor match, they only gave up 1 goal against in both of those. So Township is doing Township things in girls lacrosse. April 24th, another week and a half, 2 weeks out. Hempfield at Manheim Township. Section 2, LS. 2 games clear now in Section 2. LS is 7-0. E-Town's 5-2. Cocalico's 5-2 on Monday. Big showdown. LS beat Cocalico 16-6. So again, statement win for the Pioneers. Rowan Kimmel had 4 goals and 4 assists. Abby Welchins had 4 goals in that game for LS. 2 games clear. We'll see if LS can take care of business here and win the section.
There you go.
Circle this game, April 25th, LS at E-Town. We'll see if the Bears can throw a monkey wrench in that race, but it's LS's to lose here. They're playing great. LS has 178 goals. Wow, that's first in the league. Kimmel, as mentioned, she has 47 goals and 21 assists. Our old friend.
She's Wayne Gretzky.
She is, unbelievable. Our old friend John Walk is writing about Kimmel, so keep an eye out for
She's
that.
Jim Brown, I should say. Maybe the greatest lacrosse player of all time.
Maybe. John Walk, old friend, is writing about Rowan coming up. So I know he was there this week. So keep an eye out for that. Township at 174 goals. They have 8 kids with 10 or more goals. Palmer leads the way with 29. Township's number 1, District 3, 3A, not a shocker. LS is number 2 in District 3, 2A. Girls lax. Boys
Brian?
lacrosse, last one for me.
Yes.
Good stuff. Section 1, again, Township Hempfield. They had their big showdown last week. Not as convincing as the girls' game, 23-3, but Manheim Township beats Hempfield 13-10. So Streaks take over
close
sole
game,
possession of first. They're 7-0 here, around halfway. Hempfield's a game back. They're 5-1. Township's number 1, Hempfield's number 2 in the 3A power ratings. No shocker there. Section 2, Cocalico playing well. They're 2 games clear. They're 6-0. LS is 5-2. On Monday, Cocalico edged LS 10-9. That must have been a good match. Grant Lockhart, let's drop some names. He had 12 saves between the pipes for Cocalico. Eagles swept the season series from LS. So they swept it so they'd have the tiebreaker, and they're 2 games clear. Manheim Township has scored 138 goals. Wow, that's crazy. Also in Section 1, Penn Manor and Conestoga Valley have scored 100 goals on the dot. Let's mention Jeff Fisher from CV, good wide receiver in the fall. He has 34 goals for the Bucks. Yeah. That's pretty good. Cocalico leads Section 2 with 127 goals. LS has 116. Good races in volleyball, in
lacrosse.
Boys lacrosse. Cocalico, by the way, is number 2 in District 3, 2A. We'll see if somebody can beat Township here. They're playing well, obviously.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Finally, we conclude with baseball. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with softball, kind of run through the district leaders real quick. In 6A, our top team is Ephrata with 1 loss. They're number 3. Hempfield is number 4, 8-2. Hempfield has been cruising along in Section 1. The top teams in 6A are Lower Dauphin, Dallastown, 1-2, undefeated. 5A, Warwick is number 3. Remember how Warwick really struggled out of the gate? They've kind of found themselves. They're 6-3 overall. LS is number 5. They're 8-2. And Lower Dauphin and Governor Mifflin, which are 2 teams, they're 1-2. They're the 2 that a lot of people expected to be outstanding all year, regardless of class in District 3. 4A, the top ranked team is the Vikings of Northern Lebanon, who only have 2 losses, and they're going along, having a really nice year. 3A, Lancaster Catholic is number 2. Camp Hill is 1. Lancaster Catholic has won 7 in a row. They're 7-1, and I'll get to something else about Catholic in a minute here. But we don't really have anything in AA. Class A, not Lancaster Lebanon League, but Lancaster County, Mount Calvary, Conestoga Christian, High Point, 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
They have played fewer games than most of the regular, our LL teams. But anyway, that's where we are in districts. Now, we've talked a lot about the run scoring side, but I think what's happening here is the weather gets a little warmer and everything. Some of the pitchers are coming to the fore. Some of the guys that maybe we're not huge names last year, but are starting to emerge. A good example, couple examples. Gavin Glass of Manheim Township, who now his ERA is now down to 1.3, and he beat Penn Manor on Monday. These are all games that were pitched Monday. Stephen Catch of Hempfield, 1 hitter in a 5-inning, 10-run rule game with 13 strikouts.
Wow.
He only had to get 15 outs. 13 of them were strikeouts in a blowout of Cedar Crest.
Wow.
And then Pequay Valley, a kid named Steven Smucker, took 6 complete innings, no-hitter, but he was up against the pitch limit. He was up against the pitch limit, so they brought in a reliever to pitch the 7th. They beat Anvil Cleona, but Anvil got a hit and a run in the 7th inning to kind of ruin the no-hitter. So some of these pitchers are starting to emerge. And one guy from last year, Noah Zimmerman from Lancaster Catholic, who really took off when they had an injury to the Wingenroth kid, who was their other sort of 1A and 1B ace. He really carried them. He's starting to round into form lately, apropos to which tonight I'm going to go cover LS at Ephrata, which is a big game in Section 2.
Yeah, it is.
And as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, LS has now beaten Ephrata 6 straight times.
Wow.
And that those games were decisive in Section 2 last year. They went down to the last pitch. LS won them both. Well, now they're playing 3 times.
3, yeah.
Okay, so it's a little different animal. But anyway, tonight at War Memorial Field, under the lights, LS and Ephrata. And then on Friday, Pequay Valley at Lancaster Catholic, which is a big game in Section 4. Yeah, and you can expect to see some of these good pitchers in these games. So
good stuff.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
Ryan's, anything else for the good of the order?
For the good of the order, Thursday night, as you watch this, it's the LL Senior Girls All-Star Basketball game. 6:30, circle it. at Cocalico. So one last look at the top senior girls players around the league. I'm going to go to that. Sorry, I'm going to miss volleyball on Thursday, but I enjoy covering that all-star game. And
I covered the boys one this year.
yeah, you cover these kids for 4 years, and you know everything about them and their stats, and my goodness. So
I'm guessing more dunks in the boys game.
much more dunks. I'm expecting a lot of threes, and
There were
probably
a lot of threes.
a lot of threes, and not many fouls. But it'll be fun to cover that. So Thursday night, 6:30 at Cocalico, girls senior basketball all-star game. That's all I got.
There you have it. This has been the LL Spring Sports Roundtable, brought to you by Substitute Teachers Service. For Mike Gross and Jeff Reinhardt. Jeff Reinhardt is the term I'm looking for.
There you go.
See ya.